What is up, YouTube? I am Galdite74 here, bringing you our Week 7 battle of the PEBA. This week we are taking on 2-Bit Crow, coach of the Mount Silver Weavile. We are going into this game with a 4-2 record, while he is also going into this game with a 4-2 record. Now, you guys are streaming this on Monday rather than Sunday because we did have to battle on Sunday, and I wasn't going to be able to get this video up in time because I had finals, and even some of this week I had finals, but most of it was last week, and it was actually a living hell. So I had to wait till the end of the week to battle, and on top of that, the team for this week is going to be a little meh, so apologies to 2-Bit for that. I want to put my full effort as much as I can, but this week it was really tough to do that. But to reiterate, we are facing a 2-Bit Crow. He was the commissioner and the main guy in charge for Season 1 and Season 2 of the PEBA. He made the Northside Noiverns logo, he made the PEBA logo, and he's just been around forever, so mad props to him. I would like to thank him for even accepting me into PEBA in the first place. Again, 2-Bit's done a lot for this league. His team is very fat. Let's just say that. I'm going to go over his team now. His team consists of Kieran Black, Mew, Mega Venusaur, Skarmory, Raikou Z-moves, Emboar Z-moves, Alomomola, Tauros Z-moves, Piloswine, Spiritomb, and Gramble. Now, what I expect him to bring consists of Kieran Black, Mew, Mega Venusaur, Skarmory, Emboar, and a 6-Mon, which could be literally anything else on his team. But those first 5 I'm very set on. Say that because, you know, the first 4 are just kind of standard his team. And Emboar, because my switch into a Choice Banded Emboar basically just does not exist. I can deal with it offensively pretty well, but defensively, it's not so hot. So I have to be very careful about that. His defensive backbone and Mega Venusaur and Mew and even Skarmory to an extent are very annoying and kind of hard for my team to deal with, so I definitely see those 3 coming. But luckily, his offense is, I'm going to list off his offense real quick. Kieran Black, Raikou, Emboar, Tauros, Spiritomb to an extent, and Gramble to an extent. And Kieran B, being his main wall breaker, actually has just a matchup this week because I have really good ways to deal with it offensively. And as I go into the team builder, I have a good defensive counter to it as well. So it's not going to be that big of a concern for my team compared to his defensive backbone. So if I can break down his defensive core, then I think I'll be pretty good to go. But that is his team. The team I am bringing this week consists of Mega Diancie, Rotom Frost, Powdon, Oricorio Ghost Form, Volcarona, and Passimian. Okay, so first up, as I just mentioned, is Mega Diancie. Mega Diancie is running max special attack, 176 speed with a timid nature, and 88 HP with the Downslight. Moves being Moonblast, Power Gem, a Psychic, and Calm Mind. This is my main offensive presence of the week, obviously, as it beats down the Kieran Black pretty well if it's not Scarf, as it deals with those low tiers as well as like Gramble and Spiritomb. It deals with the Emboar, so I don't really have to worry about that too much with this Mon. And since I did change from Modest to Timid, I can now deal with the Mew pretty well because offensive Mew was kind of scary against my team, so I wouldn't be shocked if he brought an offensive Mew. Thus, Diancie with a little bit of chip would be able to take down Mew. Unless it's Assault Vest, then we might have some problems, like offensive Assault Vest Mew, that could be a really big problem. But that is mainly what my Mega Diancie is here for. Make sure that Kieran Black doesn't get too out of hand, and that is the Mega Diancie set. Next up, we have Rotom Frost. Rotom Frost is holding the leftovers with max HP, 84 Spadef with a calm nature, and 176 in speed. Moves being Volt Switch, Defog, Will-O-Wisp, and Pain Split. This is my main pivot around of the week, as Rotom Frost does a really good job pivoting around his team. And I expect him to bring rocks on Skarmory if he brings rocks at all, and Rotom Frost is my switch in every single time the Skarmory, so that's what Rotom here is mainly here for, as a pivot and to switch into Skarmory. I can also switch into Alomomola and full switch out. I can switch into Piloswine because the only thing Piloswine is really going to be hitting me up with is like Stone Edge and Rock Slide. If I can burn that thing, I can whittle that thing down because Piloswine doesn't really stay healthy for too long. And that's his other rocker as well, Piloswine. So I can switch into most of his rockers since Mew's probably not going to be a rocker this week. That's what me. And I can also take a hit from Kyurem if I have to, even though Sub Kyurem could stop the set pretty easily. So that is Rotom Frost. Next up, we have Hippowdon. Hippowdon's running leftovers with Sandstream, 248 HP, 48 defense with Impish Nature, and 212 in Spit Def. Moves being Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Slack Off, and Toxic. I understand I cannot touch Skarmory for the life of me, but that is okay because Rotom Frost, again, is really reliable. This is my main switch into Emboar because if Emboar is not banded, then I can actually switch in pretty reliably. If it is banded, then we're going to have problems, but I'm probably going to end up sacking something to that thing rather than just switching Hippowdon in, because Hippowdon can also take hits from the Gramble and the Tauros if he decides to bring them as well. So I have a backbone for them at least. I don't want to lose Hippowdon to Emboar and then have Tauros run house on my team. It also stops the Raikou as well. With a decent amount of HP and special defense, HP Ice isn't doing that much, and he'll need to have like 2 or 3 Calm Mind boosts in order to like do a lot of damage to me. And by the time I get Hippowdon in, I don't really have to worry about it. He can't Z-move it because, you know, Hidden Power doesn't have a Z-move, so there's that. And it also stops a physical Mew if he decides to bring a physical Mew. I know he's going to bring an offensive one, but I don't know if it's going to be physical or special. I think he'll bring special, but physical is definitely a thing I could see for like Volcarona, like Rock Slide. He can run mixed, all I know, so I definitely got to be careful about that. But Hippowdon's mainly here just 2 wall hits from his low-tier physical attackers, and that is that. So now we're going to get into some wacky stuff. Next up is Oricorio Sensu form, holding the wide lens with max special attack, 200 speed with a timid nature, and 56 HP. Moves being Revelation Dance, Hurricane, Baton Pass, and Roost. This is the second week in a row we're bringing Oricorio, which is nuts. But I decided to bring this because it was a really good way to deal with Mega Venusaur. Well, it was a way to deal with Mega Venusaur, as that was kind of becoming a problem at this point in building. I decided to go with the Ghost version over the Psychic version because the Ghost version resists Sludge Bomb, because I'm still taking a decent chunk from Sludge Bomb, and if it poisons me, then actually that really sucks. But there's that, and I did want to bring Psychic to resist the Mew, but at least with the Ghost type I can at least hit it effectively. Granted, if it's going to be faster than me, then I'm probably not going to stay in the first place, but we'll see about that. It also deals with Emboar offensively as well, so another way, like if Emboar can't really switch in onto this thing either, for Hurricane. And just Hurricane's really good spam against his team. I have the wide lens because I don't trust 70% accuracy to save my life. I know it's just 77% now, but I prefer 77 way over 70 for some reason. But again, like Hurricane's really spammable against my team, his team. If he wants to bring in Raikou, Hippowdon comes in. If he wants to bring in Skarmory, Rotom comes in. So all of his Hurricane switch-ins I have pretty good answers for. That's why I decided to bring Oricorio this week. Next up, we have Volcarona. Volcarona is really different. We have max HP, max defense, 8 in Spadef with a calm nature, moves being Will-O-Wisp, Roost, Psychic, and Bug Buzz with the Charty Berry. We're not running Fire Stab, I know, but I just didn't want to let that Emboar have a free switch-in or a free time against any of my Mons, so Psychic was a way to punish that thing. Will-O-Wisp is good against this team because, again, Burn is more effective than Toxic against this team because Kyurem Black just gets absolutely crippled that way. Mew, synchronizing Mew could be a little bit of a problem, but I prefer to be burned than Toxic Poisons myself. Venusaur and Skarmory being burned is always nice, so that's why I have that. Roost, just the Roost stall things out. But this is my main switch into Kyurem Black because Kyurem Black cannot hit me hard with any moves outside of Dragon Claw. And I can Roost stall enough to the point where maybe Flame Body will activate, and if he's burned, then Dragon Claw's not doing much. So that's what I'm hoping this Volcarona set's mainly here to do. Also, I have it here for a special Mew, or just a Mew in general. I do have to be careful of like a Rock Slide, but that is why the Charty Berry is there. I should be able to take a Psychic into like a Rock Slide, or any move into a Rock Slide with the Charty Berry, and Bug Buzz it just to do major damage. And as long as I have damage off on the Mew, then I'll be pretty safe to go. I can also switch into Volcarona, but he could also whittle me down with like Toxic or Sludge Bomb and all that nonsense. I do have to be careful with Skarmory because I can't touch it actually with the set, but we'll see when we get there. And lastly, we have Passimian. He's called Harambe's son, all grown up, holding the Choice Scarf with max attack, Adam Nature, 224 speed with 32 HP, close combat, knockoff, U-turn, and Iron Head. A standard pretty Scarf Passimian. This is here to take on a Scarf Kyurem Black if Niantic cannot deal with it, because I can take any one hit from Kyurem Black and knock it out with close combat. I can also knock it off if I expect things to happen. If he does bring like the Gramble or the Spiritomb, I have to be a little bit careful clicking close combat, but I have pretty reliable switch-ins to them, so I'm not really too worried about it. And the only real problem here is Mega Venusaur, because I can't really touch Mega Venusaur with this set, but I have other Mons, hopefully Oricorio and Volcarona can deal with that Mega Venusaur pretty well. And just Passimian, just Scarf Close Combat is just so good against this team. But that is the team. I hope it does work because, again, it wasn't my greatest team building effort of all time. But anyway, we're going to head over to Pokemon Showdown and watch this battle. Okay, so we have arrived at Pokemon Showdown, and I want to let you guys know this is a long battle and it's a little laggy, so I apologize for that. But he did not bring the M-Board, but he did bring the first 4 as I thought he would. Mega Diancie is looking very well in this matchup. I am going to decide with Passimian because I don't mind if he knows I'm Scarf right away, as he does leave with Tauros, which is absolutely great for me. I'm not going to risk anything. I'm just going to click Close Combat first turn, because even if he does want to bring in Gramble, Mew, or Mega Venusaur, I can at least switch out and handle them accordingly. Luckily, he goes in the Gramble, does not much damage, but luckily I can just switch out into either Volk or Hippowdon. I decided to go to Volk because it is pretty important, but I think Hippowdon's a little more important. He does bust out the Super Fang, which really took me off guard, and that actually really scared me because he can do a lot of damage to me. I'm going to fire off Will-O-Wisp because now he's going to T-Wave me. So now the only thing this thing can really do to me offensively is Super Fang. His physical attacks are now halved, and I don't think he's going to have a Rock type move, seeing that he went for Super Fang at this turn. I'm going to Roost just once. I don't really feel like playing this game while I'm paralyzed, but at least getting one Roost off allows me to be up at least at 76%, so that's pretty cool. He doesn't go into Tauros. I do go into Hippowdon. I didn't really know what to do and how to approach his Super Fang thing, so I just went into my wall. But luckily he goes into Tauros, which is really good because Hippowdon is made to take on the Tauros, as I'm just going to fire off my rocks because I'm expecting him to go into the Skarmory, which he does, and I can't really touch the Skarmory outside of setup rocks. So every time I see Skarmory, I go into Rotom Frost, because Rotom Frost is really only here for the Skarmory at this point, now that I don't see a few of his other Mons. So here, he does set up his rocks. I am going to defog my own rocks away, but that allows his rocks to be off the field, as he's just going to fire off a Roost as he expected like a Volt Switch or something like that, which I will go for at some point. But now I can freely fire off a Will-O-Wisp because I don't think he's going to bring in Granbull. And having this Skarmory burnt is always nice because I'm assuming whatever physical attacks he has is going to do a lot less damage. If he's got like Rock Slide for Volk, it won't do as much. If he's got Iron Head for Diancie, it won't one-shot. So that's why I did that. Here he goes into Mega Venusaur as I just defogged the rocks away. So that's that. I am faster than this Venusaur, so I can just Volt Switch out into my Oricorio, as Oricorio is mainly here for the Mega Venusaur, but it can do a few other things as well. As I'm going to go into Oricorio, and I'm expecting either a Leech Seed or a Sludge Bomb. He does go for Sludge Bomb, and unfortunately turn 1 he does poison me. Now that really sucks because now I can't really deal with this Venusaur accordingly, as I am going to go for Roost. If he didn't have poisoned me, I would have clicked Hurricane there, but he does have knockoff, so maybe it was in my best interest to actually click Roost in the end there. As I'm just going to keep firing off Roost now to try and stay healthy for this Venusaur, as he is going to fire off a Leech Seed. So we are learning this Venusaur set. He has Leech Seed, knockoff, and Sludge Bomb. So that means he doesn't either have Giga Drain or Synthesis, so that is really good information to know. Here I'm going to Roost one more time just to get up to as much health as possible. The poison really sucks, but it's like it's 30% chance, so it's understandable. But I do see the Skarmory, and again, every time I just go back into the Rotom Frost. It's my main switching because I know he's going to set up the rocks, as he does. He's shown rocks and Roost so far, so I can just defog away. And eventually, it's just a rinse and repeat process. He is going to go back out into Mega Venusaur, as I do predict that and go for the Will-O-Wisp. Now, having Will-O-Wisp on Venusaur is much better than Skarmory, because Skarmory can just keep getting leftovers, so he's not losing health. Venusaur does not have leftovers, so a little bit of chip's always nice. He's going to Leech Seed me, and a little bit of damage on Rotom is not going to really hurt, so that's why I decided just to defog the rocks away first. As I'm just going to Volt Switch this turn around and just go into Oricorio, I believe, as I do. As he does make a nice play and goes for the double Leech. Now, at this point, I'm realizing I'm in a losing battle with this Oricorio. I'm in a winning one with the Skarmory, but I'm in a losing one with the Oricorio, so I'm just going to fire off a Hurricane to get as much damage as I possibly can. Luckily, the Kyurem comes in, and that is not a free switch in for Kyurem. He's going to get some Leech Seed back, but not much. Now, this Kyurem is down to 2/3 of his health, so I'm really glad I decided to click Hurricane there. He does show that he is faster, so he could be Scarf potentially, and if he is Scarf, I don't want to risk that, so I can go into Simeon here. And I'm just going to U-turn, because if he's Scarf, I'll know, obviously, and won't do as much. And I could just U-turn out into Volcarona and take the Iron Head for days, so there's that. But he goes into Granbull, as I can just go into Hippowdon. Super Fang is still, at this point, a little scary against Hippowdon and the rest of my team at this point. But I think I believe I just go for Rocks this turn, because again, I expect the Skarmory to come out, as it does. And even though I'm probably going to end up defogging them away, I just know what's going to happen. I'm just going to go into Rotom Frost. It's going to be rinse and repeat again. The Venusaur was already burned, so I can get the Volt Switch around. And I do have to figure a way out around that Venusaur, because it is kind of a problem for my team. But, you know. Whew, okay, let's see. This turn, I'm going to defog again, just get rid of the rocks as it's been. And this portion of the battle is just a little, like, stally. He's going to Whirlwind me, so he does show the Whirlwind. And I'm thinking, okay, he's got Stealth Rocks, Roost, and Whirlwind. I don't think he's got Rock Slide at this point, so I am going to click Roost. He does set up the rocks, which is kind of unfortunate, as I am going to be up to 100% now, but if you guys watch the Team Builder, I actually do not have a Fire-type move on this Volcarona, so I can't actually just nuke this thing. I get paralyzed there, but he doesn't know that, so in his mind, I was probably unfortunate, but it didn't really matter that I got paralyzed that turn. As I do get Whirlwinded into Diancie, and now this is just unfortunate, because now I gotta hope I have to get into Rotom Frost, because he's just going to keep Whirlwinding my team around. As I am just going to Hippowdon, because I know I can take any hit, is he just going to throw off the Iron Head, and that shows us his last move. That means he cannot touch a Volcarona except for the Stealth Rocks, obviously, which are up, to be fair. But here I'm going to get up my own rocks, just, prevent him from switching around too much, but he's just going to keep on whirlwinding. He goes back into Deontay, and Deontay's getting chipped down. I can't knock this thing out, and I know I probably could live in Iron Head, but I don't want to take the hit, so I'm going to switch out and go back and hit Hippowdon, just take the hits from Skarmory until he whirlwinds me into the Rotom Frost, because once Rotom Frost in, I can either defog or Volt Switch, depending on what I want to do, because this Skarmory is very, very annoying. Now, I'm going to slack off here, as he is going to whirlwind me out, and he does bring me into the Volcarona, and that really sucks, because now I got to hope I don't get paralyzed, I don't get flinched by Iron Head, or if he goes for Iron Head, which he will, and I gotta hope the Sandstorm damage doesn't rack up on me. Iron Head only does like 5%, but flinch is gonna be really annoying. Luckily, first turn I get the Roost off, so now I can switch in back on rocks. As I'm just gonna fire off a Psychic and start doing some chip damage to this thing, as it does, 20%, it's a decent chunk of damage, as he is going to whirlwind me out. And this turn, he finally brings me into the Rotom Frost, and I was really happy about that, about time. I can just defog these rocks away, but this turn, actually, I'm going to click defog. That's right, because he clicks Stealth Rocks again, I believe. Yeah, he clicks Stealth Rocks again. So now the rocks on his side are gone, but on my side they're still here. I am getting Leftovers recovery, and this turn I believe I click Volt Switch and do a load of damage to the Skarmory. He lives on 1%, and him living on 1% is actually really nice for me, because he's going to just fire off an Iron Head luckily here and not a Whirlwind. And I can freely U-turn on this thing because he's only at 1%. He's not going to live the hit. And it gives me a free switch in into anything. He is assigned to save it, and he's going to go into Ground Bull. This gives me a free switch into whatever against his Ground Bull. I decided I want to start going a little more offensive, and I'm going to go into Deontay. If he is max HP, this Moonblast is going to be a roll, but if it's anything other than HP, I'm good, because it's in my favor anyway. If he's HP but Def, it could be a problem, but regardless, he just drops, so it could have been a roll, but it was probably in my favor, so there's that. Granbull's gone. I'm going to go back into the Rotom Frost now. Knowing that Skarmory's only at 1%, it's not really a big problem anymore, so I can just deal with it some other way. Unfortunately, he hits a poison again on the first turn. It's not, again, it doesn't really matter in the long scheme of things, it's just annoying. I am going to Pain Split once just to get this Venusaur down, because there's a chance this thing doesn't even have Synthesis. I could just have Giga Drain for all I know. So keeping it low is always nice, and is at 40%. I'm going to default because I still need these rocks off the field, because Volcarona is still very important for this late game, as Mew and Kyurem Black are still a threat to the team. As he is going to fire off a Leech Seed on the Rotom Frost, and I'm going to go down this turn. So luckily, rocks are probably going to be off the field on my side for the rest of the battle, but this Venusaur, I have to deal with it now. I do have Psychic on this Mega Dynasty, and luckily he stays in, and Mega Venusaur goes down to the Psychic. If he would have switched out there, we would have had some major problems. But luckily he didn't. He went right into Kyurem Black this turn. He went like 0.3 seconds, click the Kyurem Black button. That screams Scarf to me, so I decided just to go to Volcarona, and I can take that with ease. Now I'm going to fire off a Bug Buzz, and Skarmory comes in, and he's going to sack it off. So that's really cool. I was faster than Skarmory, even being paralyzed, so I would have had a second chance, even if I did get paralyzed there. But Skarmory's down, rocks are officially not a problem now. Hippowdon's only here for Tauros, so I am going to switch into that accordingly to deal with it, as Body Slam is going to do 41%, so he is a pretty offensive Tauros. Not Banded, or he's not Life Orb, but he might be like Silk Scarf or something like that, because that did a decent chunk of damage, as he does get a higher roll this time around. I am going to slack off once here. Now with the Leftovers, I can live 2 Body Slams barring a crit, so I am going to fire off a Toxic against this Tauros to whittle this thing down. As again, Hippowdon's only really here for Tauros at this point, but I would rather keep Hippowdon healthy because I can take from full HP, I could probably take an Ice Beam from a Scarf Kyurem Black, and I can also take an Ice Beam from Mew as well. So that's some important information to retain there. As Toxic's going to just start whittling down, I could just slack off stall if I really wanted to, which I'm prepared to do. I am a little scared though, because this turn he is going to switch into Mew, and at this point I'm thinking, offensive Mew is not a problem, but like a bulk up setup Mew, that could be a problem. So I'm not going to just stand in here and just Toxic this thing. I'm going to go right into Volcarona, and hopefully he doesn't like click the rock move, but he just goes for the Ice Beam, as he does end up having Ice Beam, and he's Life Orb. So that tells me a lot about this Mew. I'm just going to click Bug Buzz because he doesn't really have a switch in at this point, as Tauros is just going to drop to that Bug Buzz. It was a good sack on his part because Tauros wasn't really doing much for him, as he is going to come to Kyurem Black. Now Kyurem Black can't really touch me too much unless he's got Dragon Claw. He does go for the Earth Power. I'm just going to fire off a Bug Buzz to get as much damage as I possibly can on it, as it does knock him down to 27%. And at this point, I'm feeling really confident in this battle. as I can just fire off another Bug Buzz. I am going to Roost Up just in case that Mew could be a problem. He does get a Spadef drop, which sucks, as now I'm just going to fire off a Bug Buzz and knock this thing out, but I do get paralyzed, which sucks. I'm like, alright, that's, you know, whatever. And he's going to fire off Earth Power again. I'm at 9%, and I get paralyzed again. And in the long run, again, it doesn't really matter, but it's just annoying because if Mew was a setup variant, that could have been scary without Volkir. But here, I know Knockoff is going to kill the Kyurem Black, so I'm just going to click Knockoff as he does switch into Mew, and that was the play for me as I knock off the Life Orb, and I'm Scarf, so I'm guaranteed faster than this thing. Knock off the Mew again, Mew is gone, and this is basically GG because there is no one move Kyurem can hit, that will OHKO all three of my mons. So he's going to click Iron Head. I click Knockoff. It's supposed to kill, but I do get flinched, and, you know, that sucks. I want Harambe's son to get this kill, as I do live on 5%, and I get flinched again. So, very unfortunate hacks for me at the end. It's not mattering, but it's just, you know, for differential, it sucks. Now, if he flinches my Hippowdon like 4 or 5 times in a row, I actually just lose the game, but that's very unlikely to happen, as he's just going to click Iron Head, and I do not get flinched this time around, and I click Earthquake. And this Kyurem Black goes down, and that is the battle. GG to Crow. We are going to move up to a nice 5-2 record. We did miss out on a little bit of differential there, but the impact of the result of the game is much more important to me than the differential, so it doesn't really matter. Make sure to go check out Crow in the description below. He's got a YouTube and Twitter down there. He's been streaming on YouTube a Storm Silver Nuzlocke, so I really highly recommend you guys to go check him out next time he streams. He will be posting it on his Twitter, so make sure to go check that out. Again, GG to Crow. We are moving on. Next week, we face Zombie, coach of the Victoria Victinis. I think that's his name. I hope it is. He's got an Arceus bug on his team, so it's our second run with an Arceus this season. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you like Pokemon Draft League content, consider subscribing to the channel. That's all I got for you guys. I'm head out of here. Have a fantastic day, YouTube.